In part 2 of our prescribed fire series, we're talking about the 2 different types of burns, a dormant season and a growing season. We're talking about what each will accomplish and the differences between the 2.
Mossy Oak Properties, where outdoorsmen find their favorite place.
As we mentioned, there are 2 different types of burns, and they're pretty self-explanatory. A growing season burn is a burn that you would conduct during the growing season when plants are active and growing. A dormant season burn is what it sounds like. That's a burn you would conduct when plants are dormant, when all their energy is in their root system, usually during fall and winter. Growing season burn, think spring and summer.
Yep. But how do we get to that point though? You know, we always kind of jump ahead of things. When you are just starting out on controlled burning, this is all new to you. Don't try to jump a couple rungs up a ladder and just start diving into growing season, dormant season stuff.
Right.
Get some burns under your belt. Get some experience, whether you go on other people's control burns or, you know, it's thinking outside the box. Ask the fire department if they do a control burn. Get some experience underneath your belt before you go in and do X, Y, and Z.
And I think given the time of year, it's the dormant season. I'm not a smart guy, but it seems like it would make the most sense, since we're in the dormant season, to talk about dormant season burns.
Yeah, dormant season burns, again, they are usually the most popular time. You go on social media, you'll see everybody just lighting up everything from warm season grasses, old field, the burn in their woods, all that great stuff. It should be, you can look at it negative, but it's so exciting that people are getting back into burning. Because that's what was happening way before we started getting our hands involved in things.
Right, so when you do a dormant season burn this time of year, what type of response can you expect from a dormant season fire?
Creating life.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of pause there because it is. You're creating life. You killed off the dead, the dead thatch and all that stuff. And then you have all this flush and anew. And then you can go from there. You know, because fire, dormant season fires, sometimes it doesn't get hot enough to, you know, it kills the top of a briars or it kills the top of invasive woodier plants. But then you can go back in and use herbicide. And then also, if you want to set back, you have a lot of grasses in your dormant season burn. The herbicide that you can use is actually hitting what it's supposed to hit because it's all black. It's all dirt, if you will.
And if you follow up with the disking, depending on how heavy your disc is, most of us aren't farmers with big, giant heavy discs. With exposed soil, you can get more of a disturbance with your disc to generate more plant diversity. Because one thing with a dormant season burn, you're going to encourage more grasses. And depending on what your goals are with the unit, you may want a mix of forbs and grasses or grasses and wildflowers, and creating that disturbance post-burn with the disc can help diversify that area. But beyond that, how can the wildlife respond to a dormant season fire once this habitat wakes back up, come spring green up? Because first thing I can think of, because we're in a burn unit right now that we burned, dormant season. Once these grasses start greening up, bugs start coming alive. I can see turkey poults working their way right through here, having a ball picking the bugs off.
And it's funny, when it's all burned off, it's like all this habitat that you burn off, it's all gone. When we were coming up here, you should have seen the non-game, I call them dicky birds from afar, but the bird community that was utilizing this burn area, the seeds, the stuff that does get burnt, you know, the snails, etc. You know, all that stuff that we don't see because we don't think about it. Things are utilizing this area after you burn. So don't think it as I just burn off a whole bunch of stuff.
It's a step back for many steps forward. Like you said, you burn off all the dead grasses, dead thatch, whatever fuel load you're burning, you're getting rid of it. But in the process, those seeds you're going to get good seed to soil contact, especially for native grasses or wildflowers that over time, if you're not burning this area every year, or say you've went 3 years without seeing fire in this area, you've got a thick layer of duff and thatch and just matted grasses underneath, that those grasses, once they come up, they're producing seeds, but they're not making it to the soil. You're burning off that thatch, you're getting better seed to soil contact.
You can choke things out, bottom line. It rejuvenates pollinators, warm season grasses, old field environments, your woodland environments, all great dormant season type of burns.
Absolutely.
But There's one type of burn that doesn't get utilized a lot for many reasons, and we'll go over that.
Right.
It's a growing season burn.
Yeah, growing season burn, you were exactly spot on. It's kind of the, what is it, an ugly stepchild? The redheaded stepchild or whatever, often forgotten.
Sorry for the redheads.
Yeah, it doesn't get the love that it deserves.
No.
And depending on your goals and what you're trying to accomplish, in many cases, a growing season fire can be more beneficial than a dormant season fire.
I couldn't agree more.
We mentioned, again, you have to establish what your goals are. If you're trying to promote more forbs, more broadleaf plants, a growing season fire is your ticket.
Yeah, I mean, the more education you get through this, you just don't go out there, again, like we said in the beginning, start doing a growing season burn. You got to learn, you got to do some reading, follow somebody that's done this before. But as Cody was saying, if you had a solid monoculture of switchgrass, for example, well, that's not really a great thing.
No.
We thought it was at one time, but it's not. So we want to get some more woody component in there, like goldenrod,
ragweed,
etc.
Yeah.
So growing season burn would be a good thing to run through. It'll set back some of the switchgrass and let that old field component, all those beneficial weeds, explode.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, growing season fire can encourage a lot more diversity, I think, than a dormant season fire. And another benefit of a growing season fire, I think, is when it comes to invasive species, because as you mentioned with a dormant season fire, imagine there was autumn olive in this unit behind us. We got a good burn, but it would only top kill it because this time of year, all the energy for that autumn olive is underneath the ground in its roots. During the growing season, all that energy is up in its branches and out in its leaves. A growing season fire, if it's effective, girdles the plant, and you'll get a better, more effective kill on invasive species that way. You can manage woody vegetation the exact same way.
Yeah, the key thing with the growing season burn that you have to this is when you do management, and this is where management and hunting kind of collide, because growing season burns is you do it after nesting periods of time.
Right.
After July, most of the country, a little bit later, depending on where you live. But then what people think about is like you're taking away habitat, that bedding area, if you will, that perfect bedding area. But as Cody says, taking steps back for that future.
Right.
It's never about the now, it's always about the future when managing for wildlife.
Right.
So that's why I think growing seasons don't get utilized as much as they should, because that's where hunting and the management collide, for example.
Absolutely. And if hunting is your thing, then a late summer burn followed by a couple rains, I mean, you're going to have an explosion of new green tender growth that deer are just going to absolutely love, that you could capitalize on during bow season if that's your thing.
But both burns, both different results, positive results. And again, not to beat a dead horse, do your research, look into this stuff.
Right.
Just don't go out there and just start doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. A dormant season burn has its benefits and drawbacks. A growing season burn has benefits and drawbacks. Like anything, each has their pros and cons. But it's up for you as the landowner to decide what your goals are and which of these types of burns makes most sense for you and what you're trying to accomplish.
Mossy Oak Properties, where outdoorsmen find their favorite place.